the sound of time, stories weaving words that climb, whispered tales in a cozy nook. Welcome to the magic of every book. Bookshelf Babble, take the stage, turn the chapter, fill the page. Laughter, wisdom, stories to spare. A podcast world where books are everywhere.
Hey, hello everyone. You're welcome, and I'm back after a very long time when a new episode not was released, and I'm very happy to release fourth episode of Bookshelf Babble podcasts, and I'm your host Shelley. You're welcome, and let's go to start today's episode. And today episode, I decided to talk just about one book what I read in this year and start of 2026. It's first book what I read in this year, and I want to share to my opinion, share to my impression about this book, and share my feedback. And also I will be happy to hear your feedback about this book and your feeling. And if you read this book before, just to write the comments. What is your impression? How do you like it, or hate, or someone other? And I will be happy to hear your feedback about this book. Okay, and what is it? What book of this episode? And today we talk about I think legendary book and iconic book by Richard Matheson, and this book has name I Am Legend. I think a lot of people heard about the name of this book. Maybe if you don't heard about this book, but I think you heard and watched the film with the same name. I Am Legend was released in 2007 with Will Smith. It's very nice action movie. I like it, and this movie is based on the film film based on the book by Richard Matheson. I Am Legend was published in 1954. It's almost to 70 years ago. Film it's look very nice. It's modern, but book was written I think so many years ago, and I think it's many people who read the books and they don't expect a lot of interesting from book what was written in these years, in this time, especially in fiction genre. But I was really surprised. This book is very well written, and I very enjoyed. But this about my impression, I tell some word later. Okay, and just small remark. I'm read this book not in English. Not in original language. I read translation of this book on Russian language because it's my mother language, and I just decide to read on Russian. Maybe next time when I reread, I will to pick up the English version of the book. I read on Russian, and on Russian the sounds the same, but just on Russian and called "Я легенда." It's almost sounds very the same. I read this to very soft cover and a very cheap edition of this book by Richard Matheson. But I will speak about my impression on the Russian language. Okay, it's main topic for today. It's I Am Legend by Richard Matheson was published in 1954, first edition, around more than 70 years ago. Okay, let's go to talk about this. Okay, and first of all, I want to tell some word about my relationship with this book and why I decided to read and reread this book, because I don't remember exact time when I read the first time this book, maybe 10, 20 or 15 years ago, and maybe it will be inspired by the film. I'm not sure. I remember I read it before or after the film was released. I'm not sure. Maybe it's after, because when the film is so interesting, very often they provide some kind of information. The film was based on some kind of book, and maybe it's to force me to read this book first time. Yeah, but I remember the main plot. I remember the general feeling about this book when I read the first time. And when I reread, I just recognize, yes, I remember this scene or this part of the book, but in reality, I forgot a lot of components. I will be happy to reread this book this year. And how you understand, I reread these books the second time, and also I chose this because I very like this genre, post-apocalyptic world, when people try and a person tries to survive in some extremal conditions, and this paper variant of this book was on my bookshelf. I bought 2 years or 3 years ago, and I just think remember about it, and every time just looking for the time when I can reread this. And yeah, I decided to reread as the first book of this year, and it's very interesting. I complete this book just in 3 days. I think because I have the holiday and vacation, it's maybe one of the reasons why I complete so quickly. Yeah, because I think when I work, I don't have so much time. Yeah, it's very good reading, and yeah, I'm very happy to reread this book. And I think I didn't reread a lot of books, but it's one of the book what I reread. And also I want to watch the films, maybe not only one what based on this film, which based on this novel. Okay, it's short my story and my relationship with this book. And okay, we go to my some kind of feedback. I think I will try to keep some outside of the plot. I just like to tell some base moments, and I will not be to spoil most of the content of this book. And yeah, but if you I try to tell about my feedback in general. Okay, first of all, first my point, I want to mention this book was written more than 70 years ago, and when you read now, it's look very I don't know how it's called. It's very new. Yeah, I not expected this, but it's really you not to feel uncomfortable with kind of old terms or something like this. And all the book is looks very fresh and suitable for exact moment for now. Another word, I almost not heard some kind, not read some kind of old terminology or old technology what very popular in middle 50s. But all words is in general is what used now. And yeah, I was surprised. And I think it's not, when you want to read something interesting in the genre, post-apocalyptic and then zombie apocalypse, and this, it's it's true choice, and it's actual now. It's a possible read is as to modern author, and you almost not recognize this was written so many years ago. Just some kind of moments to names of old like to brand car brands, like to wheelies. I think now like modern Americans don't use the word wheelies almost, because they more use like to some kind of pickups or jeeps or something like this. Yeah, and some in other moments like to don't use like a mobile phone, don't use phone at all, or not rely on the TV or something like this. It's maybe just slightly hint for you. It will be like to written some many years ago, but in its reality, this book is look very, very fresh for me. Yeah, I'm very happy, and I this moment not disturb me in any time when I read this book. Yeah, it's first like a point what I want to admit about this book. Second, moments. I read some kind of like feedbacks and other people about this, some story about the book and all and other stuff related to it, and I agree. This book was some kind of origin and starter of the topic of vampires and zombie apocalypse, what is so popular now. And we have a lot of like to and other books about this and like variation of this topic. And I really, when I read, I feel this book is essential because it's something almost the first talk about like to zombie and vampires as like to key reason for apocalypse. And you really see this like to this book contain a lot of like to ideas, topics like to plot turns what is so popular and so common in like to modern books. And as word in this case, I can tell and mention this book as like a classic of the genre. Yeah, and it sound I think I can recall this book as like classic in this genre. It's like to some etalon like to book and novel, and what show like to main ideas, and contain a lot of like to good plot ideas. And also one moment what I was very like to wonder it and like to very very nice written in this book. As I mentioned, I'm not like a fan of this zombie apocalypse, but it's very like to well detailed plot and some scientific base for the main cause of vampires and the disease what like covers the whole world. And when you read some explanation, some ideas, what base, it's all like combined very organically, and they really create the like a true science picture how it goes, why people stay like vampires, and it's very organically, and the science at this time it not was so very like to detail as now, but explanation is very, very, I don't know, has the sense, and they really like to make the value of this book. It's like to construct the ideas about vampires and very well describes some scientific base on this. But it's not real, but it's combined very well. I think it's one of the I don't know how it's called, not genius, and like of the very, very important skills for writers in this genre. You should be very use some scientific ideas and very like to smart combine this. And in the Richard Matheson book I Am Legend, it's very well written. I'm very happy Yeah, and this is it's very good reading, and in this point of sci fiction. Yeah, and third point. Okay, and next point, I want to slightly move from this topic and just maybe tell about style of the author style. I not read a lot of books of the author, and especially if you tell about this book, I Am Legend, what in Light Paper Variant, what I read, they contain 2 novels, and the second novel is Shrinking Man, and the Shrinking Man it was wrote some years later, and I saw similarity between these 2 novels, and in the case of main character, because in first and second novels, main character is just like one person, and the half of the book is show to internal world of this person and the relationship with the world and its current situation. And in other words, it's not about it's about how they reflect his position in current moment, how they suffering in some extreme situation and so on. In other words, I think it's the third part of the book, or maybe half of the book, is just about a person, and I think maybe it's the style of the author. I'm not sure about another his book, but these 2 novels, it's very similar, and this focus on the person and relationship with extreme situation. Yeah, I think it's not so common in now, and many another book about zombie apocalypse. If you show to reflection of people about about warring, it's just some small to small parts of the plot, but here it's the main topic, and I think I complicated to explain this, but I think it's something makes this book slightly outside of the science fiction. They try to investigate psychology of the person and emotional state, and maybe it's slightly more far from real fiction. And if you do who is main character, and I'm not sure they try to imagine some person out very from the space, from vacuum. I think they try to translate a lot of his own experience, and maybe some thoughts and some ideas, some behaviors is just his reflection, and it's not about the apocalypse because I don't have in real time, but about his emotional state when when broken with his wife, or what happened with some reflection. And I think the main character contain a lot of his own experience and reflection, and just he just adds some additional to level and point, and see on how he itself will be react on this situation. Yeah, it's next point what I want to mention. This book, it's not just about some action, it's about person, and person is very extreme situation, and it's this person is not so very nice person, and they show very often from dark sides, and sometimes it's make more more real life, because main character, it's not a hero, it's just a regular person, and show all the darkness of source if you pass in this situation. Yeah, it's some kind of a sci-fi horror movie, horror novel, and some kind of psychological thriller, just preparation of its main character. Yeah, at this point I want to mention it. It was I admit when I read this book. Okay, I think it's almost all what I want to mention. yeah, it's some interesting plot, a lot of like nice iconical ideas. The main character is has a lot of like self-reflections, and yeah, these moments I want to mention. All another you can find itself, and when you read, you can find like your vision, and I will be happy if you share this vision with me. But this is like mine feedback about it, and yeah, it's classic, and when you should be read the classic if you want to understand like this genre, and yeah, you just enjoy the reading. Okay, and we go next. And next I want to tell slightly different. I don't want to tell about, this feedback we complete. And I think maybe at some point of the time I will be read the third time of this book, maybe after next 10 years, and I will be prefer to read in English this book. I'm not sure. Yeah. Maybe when I forgot the plot, and when I next time want to read something in this genre, it's like I mentioned it's my favorite genre, post-apocalyptic light novel. I maybe will be back to this book because I think it's some classic, and I will be enjoying to read this book again, and next time I will read an original version of this book. Okay, I want to share some thought and some facts what I found in Wikipedia and in other sources. You can easily can find this information. It's not so unique, and I just I mentioned before I watch film with the same name, I'm Legend, with Will Smith on 2007, and also I have some kind of tradition or some kind of like behavior and habits. Read the book first and watch the film later, and now I'm on the road to watch this film again. But also I found this book, because this book is slightly classic and stay on the original genre of zombie apocalypse and vampires movies, and they will be based on many films before I'm Legend. Almost after when this book published, its first film was made. It was film which has named The Last Man on the Earth. I not watched this film, but I think it's a good point to watch this film now, because I read the book, and I like the film too, and maybe it's a good point to just widen my film experience and watch some films related to this book. And first of the list, it's The Last Man of the Earth. In 1964 was published. I've watched some small pieces of the film, and it sounds like too classic American movie in black and white, with nice heroes, and when the main actress pass in the stand, it's look like to very very fresh with hair, good hair, and not in the book after trying to survive from zombies, from vampires. And the second film was made in 1971. His name is The Omega Man. As you can see, it's two films, has slightly different names than original book. And next and last film based on this film is I'm Legend, with the same name, with Will Smith. And also I heard a lot of rumors. I'm not sure it's not rumors, maybe it's they try to make the remake and I'm Legend 2, but I think it's will be very small titled with the book. yeah, it's just like to continue the idea how what ended of the I Am Legend. And also I want to add some small remark about like my feeling the film. The film contain a lot of like to reference it to the book, the main plot, like to how actor, some main character behave, and maybe a lot of scene is the same resonate, but idea is so quite different. Yeah, I think it's not so related to the book by main idea. Why its book is called like I Am Legend. Yeah, I think, and this is some main, I don't know, sadness moment about the films. It's not relay in the main idea of the book, unfortunately. Okay, and also I was surprised when I read this book was some kind of inspiration to start of the series, classic series of movies, the Nights of Living Dead. Yeah, because I think the first film, The Last Man on the Earth, and Nights of the Living Dead is the same, like to director, and yeah, I would what interesting facts. I saw some films from this series, but yeah, it will be good point to rewatch the films these two. Okay, and one interesting fact what I found, and slightly not inspired me, but I like this kind of hidden treasure. When you read something, when you find a reference in another piece of art, you can just like to mention, okay, it's maybe a good point to read this. I found one of the book what was some kind of, how it's called, inspiration, or I think inspiration for Richard Matheson. It's this book has name The Last Man by Mary Shelley. It was written in 1826, and as worth is 200 years ago. Yeah, it's one of the some, I think, true classic of in this genre, and it's, for me, it's some very interesting to read this book, because we know a lot of like classic novels from this time. It's just like most of them about like to investigation of human nature, about like to more about realism or something like this, but you're not expected to read some kind of post-apocalyptic book in 200 what written 200 years ago. And for this, it's I really excited. Yeah, I very I didn't heard about this book and this author before, and yeah, I just added in this book in Goodreads for my later reading list, and I really want to read this book. And maybe it's one of the some small goals for this year. Buy the paper variant of this book and read this. It will be interesting. I not expected it will be like very some of the coolest book of in this genre, but it's some kind of interesting cultural investigation, and just check what think people about this topic and 200 years ago. And maybe it's not like easy reading too. I'm not sure, because I think it's maybe some kind of hard reading, but for me it's some interesting to taste this and to check how it's feeling. Yeah, and yeah, it's truly it's I very how it's called. I'm very happy to find this like some hidden treasure in the references, and yeah, it's my goals. Okay, and it's some time for a conclusion and some kind of wrap up for today's episodes. I'm very happy to read this book, I'm Legend by Richard Matheson. It's classic of the genre, and I enjoy the time when I spent on reading of this book. And I'm not sure, it's some complicated to, put the rating of the book. For example, when I mark the review some books on the Goodreads, because they can just contain like 5 stars, and almost all books what I read is like 5 stars. Because if your book interesting and involve me, and I every time put the 5 stars. It's just for some kind of annoying books I just put the 4. But for me it's not so typical like to put 1. In this case I can like to put the 5 stars for this book. And if you talk about 10 from 10 scales, I think like to 10 from 10 and maybe 9 from 10. Just some small moments I not will be like to talk about now, but I think like the final review for final score for this book is like to 9 from 10. It's classic in this genre. If you want to if you like this genre, if you want to maybe read some kind from post-apocalyptic world and just the genre, I recommend it. I'm Legend by Richard Matheson. It's a good point to start your journey in this genre. It's my final review. 9 from 10 points. Classic, and you must read this book. Must read. Okay, and it's all for today. I'm happy to record this episode and review this book. I have a lot of ideas, and I want to continue my podcast. It's some kind of cozy place where I talk about book. I talk with you, and I want to talk some kind of get the feedback, and we can communicate. And in this case, feel free to write the comments in any sources where you find this podcast and listen. I will read and like to respond to your comments. Also, I have the Discord channel when I will try to publish all interesting content, my reading status, and discuss and also organize live sessions in Bookshelf Babble podcast. And it's not a lot of people now, but I believe it will be more, because I believe a lot of people like books and they want to talk with other people, and I'm open for this, and I want to talk with you about to come on the book what we read together. Just join for Discord channels. I very appreciate this, and I'm very happy to talk with you, and also you can join to live talk with me about books, reading culture, and all aspects what related to the books, not just for some specific books. I just like to recommend to keep in touch, share your feedback, and share these podcasts with your friends who like the books. I will be glad to hear more voices and hear more feedback. And it's my place, but I wait you to be together here in Bookshelf Babble podcasts. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and see you next time here. And see you. Bye.
From paperbacks to leather spines, mysteries, thrillers, and classic lines. Stories crackle, voices ring. Dive on in, it's a podcast thing. Adventures waiting just one word away. From Austen's romance to Hemingway. Gather round, it's the bookish delight. Unfold the tales under podcast light.